Hello everyone, SimCFI. After that engine failure, let's talk about the other two general types of emergencies. The big ones are going to be an electrical fire, and the other one's going to be an engine fire. And so an electrical fire is when your avionics or something electrical up front is on fire, something is shorted out. It's going to be on this side of the firewall, instead of the engine side of the firewall, so it's going to be immediately bringing smoke and flames into the cockpit, and so that's what the fire extinguisher is for. So if you have an electrical fire, the steps you need to do is turn off the master switch, make sure your vents are closed, and then you take your fire extinguisher and you aim at the base of the fire, the whole fire extinguisher deal, extinguish the fire. And then if you do get it extinguished, we can keep flying. We still have the engine and all that. Fire is out. All the electrics are turned off. So what you want to do is check for pop circuit breakers, look like that, or bad fuses. I guess you'd have to check all your fuses if you have fuses. But otherwise, once you do that, if you decide you need to turn anything on, like if it's daytime VFR, we'll just go back to Lincoln or some other non-towered airport that has some maintenance services and land. We won't even talk on the radio. But if we do have to turn something on, like it's nighttime, we need some lights, or we've got to talk to someone on the radio because we're IFR or something like that, then you want to make sure everything else individually is turned off, and you turn off all your avionics. And then what you do is you turn on the master switch, make sure nothing lights up on fire, and then you turn on what you need one at a time. So let's say we need a radio. We'll turn on COM 1. Gotta have the radio master on for that. We'll put this over to COM 1. Okay? If that still works, we can transmit fine. If we need the transponder for some reason, then we can, play with that. Maybe we need two radios. Maybe we need DME. That's ADF. We got DME. So anyways, got all the stuff back on, turn on the beacon, turn on the landing light if you need it. Whatever you need, you turn it on, and hopefully it doesn't catch fire. Now, if you don't have a fire extinguisher, then what you gotta do is turn off the master switch, close the vents, and perform an emergency descent. So you get the power to idle, bank it over at 45 degrees of bank, or inside the white arc, give it full flaps, and let the airplane pitch for the top of the white arc about 115 miles per hour. And as you can see, this really gets the descent rate going. You're going to pitch back a little bit, but that vertical speed indicator is pegged out, and we're dropping altitude pretty fast. Then you start looking for a spot to land. So the advantage of this, doing it like this with the flaps down, is you're ready for the landing. You're already configured for landing. Now if your only spot is far away, then you keep the flaps out, maybe even give it some power, get the speed up to VNE, and all the way to that red line there. However fast you need to go, get to your spot. Allow some time to level off and bleed off that airspeed. But a lot of times your landing spot, you're on fire, is going to be straight below you. So that's what you would do in that situation. Now if you have an engine fire, that's when the engine is on fire. Something on the engine side of the firewall has caught fire, and you need to get the flames out. Well, on these GA planes, we can't reach the engine with the fire extinguisher, and we certainly don't have a fire suppression system on board, like the airliners or other large airplanes. So then what you gotta do, all you have to do is you gotta make sure you want to cut off all fuel sources. So fuel, get the electrics off, and then lean out your mixture, and make sure you close your cabin heat because you don't want smoke coming in from the exhaust area. Then you got to pitch the airplane down to as fast as you're willing to go, either 140 in smooth air, or VNE or VNE and smooth air, 140 and not smooth air. Get the flames out like that. So now the flames are out. Then you just pitch for best glide, and you glide down to your field from there. And there goes the engine, comes right back to life. So the engine comes back to life without cranking the starter because, as you saw, the propeller is still spinning. And as long as the propeller is spinning and the mags are on both, which you don't want to do that in flight. But if the mags are on both, or right or left, it's going to deliver spark. If you have gas, air, and spark, you're going to get the engine running, for the most part, as long as the engine is okay. Gas, 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 gas. Air can be carb heat, spark is the magnetos. So back in the engine failure video, that checklist is going through everything gas, air, and spark. As long as you get those things back up and running, the engine should run again. Alright, well that handles it for the 3 main emergencies. See you in the next video for some ground reference maneuvers.